Hello everyone, welcome all of you. So today we are going to discuss something about what cloud computing exactly is, what are the different types of cloud computing, what are the different cloud deployment models we have, some of the benefits associated with the cloud computing, why you should go for the cloud, and what are the current trends in the cloud computing area. Okay, so that's going to be the agenda for today evening, and let's quickly get started with this agenda. All right. So first of all, let's try to understand what cloud computing exactly is, because everyone nowadays is talking about cloud computing, but exactly what it is, let's try to understand with a simple example. Now let's assume you have to reach your office from your home and you have two options available. One is a car or another one is a bus. Okay. Now suppose you decide to go in a car. Now before you decide to go in a car, obviously you need some investment in buying the car, you need some investment in buying the fuel for the car, right? Now, okay, fine, somehow you made some investment and you bought a car, and now you decide to go in a car. But then you know what, there are some restrictions, or there are some risk factors associated with the car. The risk factors can be, let's assume you are going in a car, but then all of a sudden there is too much of traffic involved and you are completely stuck in the car itself, right? So there is no place for you to move out, and there is no other option for you but to wait until the traffic clears up, and then you can reach to your office, right? Now another thing can be, let's assume somehow you reach to your office but then you find it out that there is no parking place. What will you do, right? So, and then other risk factor can be someone has dashed your car, someone has hit your car, and so on, right? So there are a couple of risk factors associated if you go in a car. Okay, but let's assume you decide to go in a bus. Obviously, first thing is, even if there is a traffic involved, you can come out of the bus and you can simply go by walk to your office, and you can always reach to your office. Now even if there is no parking place in the office premises, perfectly fine, you do not have to worry about that. And even if someone dashes the bus, perfectly fine, you are actually safe inside the bus. So essentially we can say there are some risk factors associated if you go in your own car. Okay, now this is looking all fine. Now let's try to compare between the on-premise and the cloud computing infrastructure. So I can say, by looking at this example, my car is equivalent to the on-premise infrastructure and bus is equivalent to the cloud computing infrastructure. Now it's up to you which mode of transport you are going to choose. It ultimately it's going to take you to the office. Okay, and now I think we are in a very good shape to define exactly what cloud computing exactly is. So cloud computing is an approach to computing that's about having the right resource at the right time and connecting to variety of devices and the endpoints through some medium called as an internet. So you have the ability to connect to your infrastructure, you have the ability to connect to any of the servers, any of the databases, or any of the application components over some medium called as an internet. Okay, so that is what the cloud computing provides us. Now think about, if you were in the traditional model of working, so what you will be doing is you will be purchasing some hardware, right? After a couple of months, the hardware used to get delivered to the company's premises. And then what you used to do, you used to install the operating system on top of that. And that's how you used to consume the services of that server. But when it comes to the cloud computing platform, you do not have to worry about all of those components that you used to do it earlier. So in the cloud computing platform, your focus is only on one thing, that is, I have so many services available. How can I best utilize those services? Okay. So my focus from the server management and all those traditional components is completely gone. Now my focus is on how can I best utilize those services which are available from the cloud computing platform. Okay. So that is one of the really good advantage that cloud computing has provided. That is, we do not have to worry about launching or buying any hardware device or purchasing the physical servers or putting them into data center, ensuring the data center is properly cooled and all those things. So we do not have to worry about all those components that we used to do it earlier in the traditional ways of working, right? So your focus is only on how can I best utilize the different services that are available to me from the cloud computing platform. Okay. Now, since we have understood what cloud computing exactly is, let's try to understand what are the different types of cloud computing we have, and what are the different things that we have within the cloud computing. So I can say that delivering computing services like the servers, storage, database, networking, software, analytics, and many more things over the internet. So you have all these things available over the internet, and you can connect to these services through a web service interface, and you can utilize that platform for your launching your application. Think about if I have to launch simple application like a Zomato application or a Food Panda kind of an application, or maybe Ola kind of an application, right? Now, in the earlier world, it used to take several months for me to launch this kind of application, because I used to buy the hardware, I used to buy the infrastructure for my capabilities, and once the server used to get delivered, I used to install the operating system, install the application. I used to take lots of things upon me, right? So there were lots of things you had to take care of it. But when it comes to cloud computing, you do not have to worry about that, because all of those services are readily available from the cloud computing platform. Now your focus is on how can I best utilize this platform and I can launch my application as a developer. Okay, so because I as a developer, my focus is completely on developing my code, right? Why should I care about the underlying hardware? Why should I care about underlying infrastructure? Because that is what the cloud computing is made up of, right? Now, essentially, the main things about the cloud computing are it is on-demand self-service, which means you can launch any of the services as per your requirement. Plus, it provides you broad network access, which means you can access your services from multiple places over the internet. So if you want to connect from one particular location, fine, you can connect to your infrastructure. If you want to connect from the other locations, perfectly fine, you can access it. You can just make that service available from the other location, and your users across the globe will be able to access those services. If you want to pool your resources, maybe you want to launch a pool of resources, and then from that pool you want to consume the services, fine, you have that capability available. If you want to increase the sizing, if you want to decrease the sizing, yeah, it can be done in couple of clicks. Okay, plus you can measure what is it that you are using, and you are only paying for those services that you are consuming it. And that is the one of the major benefit of cloud computing exactly is. Now let's try to understand the different types of cloud computing with different examples, and that will help you to understand that why we need the cloud computing and what are the different models or what are the different types of cloud computing we have. Okay, so first one is the infrastructure as a service. Now when we say infrastructure as a service, that means you are launching the infrastructure and you are essentially responsible to maintain that infrastructure. I'll give you the simplest example. Let's assume you have to run an application on the cloud computing platform. So you can think about choosing the infrastructure as a service, right? You can launch your servers, and on top of those servers, you do not have to install the operating system because that's readily installed for you. What you can do is you can just launch a server, install an application, and your application should be up and running in just it depends on how you are using that. You can have your application running very quickly. Okay, so that is what infrastructure as service is. Now when it comes to infrastructure as service, there is always a maintenance activity involved, which means because you are launching the server, obviously server management and all those underlying components is management is your responsibility, right? So that means if I'm launching a server, patching of the server is my responsibility, the security aspects of that server is my responsibility. In fact, the upgrading the server with latest patches, latest security updates, so all those things is my responsibility, right? So that means there is always more maintenance activity involved when it comes to infrastructure as a service. Okay, then the second type of cloud computing we have is the platform as a service. Now I'll give you the simplest example of infrastructure as a service. So for example, if you are in AWS, you can say the EC2 instances are the best example of infrastructure as a service, or in Azure it is virtual machine, or in GCP it is again called as the virtual machine instances. So that means you are launching the servers and you are managing those servers, so all those components is your responsibility. That's why it is called as infrastructure as a service, because you are providing infrastructure as a service to your customers. Okay, so like as I told you, when it comes to infrastructure as a service, there is always more maintenance activity involved. Okay, then the second type of cloud computing we have, that is platform as a service. Okay. Now, when it comes to platform as a service, that means let's assume I have to launch an application. Now, one option I have is like, as we discussed earlier, I can simply run my application on top of a server by creating that server. Okay. But isn't it good? Let's assume I am a developer and I am just developing my code. Now, if you would ask me, hey, Kumar, if you can launch a server and you manage the server and then you deploy your code, I would say, sorry, I am not really happy, because I, as a developer, I don't want to run my virtual machine. I don't want to take care of that infrastructure management that I used to do it earlier, right? So, in this case, I can say that isn't it good if I have been provided a platform where I can simply deploy my code and I can run my application? Obviously I will be really happy as a developer, because my focus is only on developing the code, not to maintain or manage the infrastructure. Since that is my criteria, I would obviously be choosing a platform that's called as the platform as a service. Now, why platform as a service? Because in this case, the underlying server management, underlying patching of the server, underlying security of the server, underlying all those components that I used to do it or I used to manage it earlier as an infrastructure as a service, that is completely gone from my end. Now my focus is on developing my application or developing my databases and deploy those things onto the platform as a service. So that is what platform as a service is. So essentially your management and maintenance activities further reduce compared to infrastructure as a service, because in the infrastructure as a service, I used to manage the virtual machine or I used to manage the server, and I used to manage lots of aspects of that server. Now that aspect is completely taken over from my end by my service provider. It can be either Microsoft, it can be Amazon, it can be Google, or it can be any XYZ cloud platform provider. Okay. So that is what platform as a service is capable of. That means it provides you a platform where you can either run your application or you can run your database and you can start consuming the services. Okay. So underlying infrastructure like a server, the security aspects of the server, the patching of the server, the underlying OS management of that particular server, entire stuff is taken over from your end, and it's the responsibility of the service provider to manage that for you. Okay. So I'll give you the example of platform as service when it comes to web apps in Azure, or when it comes to Elastic Beanstalk in AWS, or when it comes to App Engine in Google platform. That is what platform as a service is. Okay. Because in this, you are just running your applications and you are just you do not have to manage the server or underlying component that is you used to do it earlier in the infrastructure as a service. That is what platform as a service is. Okay. Now let's talk about the third type of cloud computing, and that is software as a service. So what happens in the software as a service? Isn't it good, like if I don't have to manage the application, I don't have to manage the server, I don't have to manage the code or so on, right? So and then I've been provided a ready-made software, I will be really happy, right? So that is what software as a service is, because in this software as a service, you have been provided a ready-made software and you are just consuming that as a service. Okay, you are the consumer of that software. Now in this case, you're not managing the server, you're not managing the application code, you're not managing the database and all those components that you used to do it earlier. So that is what software as a service is. Okay. So if you talk about the best example, is your Office 365 or Salesforce, or your even Gmail is, for example, is also one of the example of software as a service, because it's a ready-made software provided to you. You just create your account and you're good to go. You are just you just start consuming the services of that software. Okay. So that is what software as a service is. Now just to give you some more brief about the differences between infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service, I'll give you a couple of examples over here that will help you to understand the exact differences between the infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Okay. So the first example is pizza as a service. Now let's assume you have to eat a pizza, and for pizza you have multiple options available. One is you can either go to the restaurant. Okay. So one is you can either go to the restaurant, okay, and you can sit on the dining table, consume the pizza there. So the ready-made cooked pizza is delivered to you at your dining table. You can eat the pizza, consume the pizza, and you can come out of the restaurant by paying whatever charges you incurred, right? So that is what software as a service is. Now think about if you have to order the pizza at your home, and at your home you are arranging for the kitchen table, you are arranging for the drinks, and rest all things are taken care by your service provider. That is what platform as a service is. So as you can see here, in case of platform as a service, there is some kind of maintenance activity involved compared to software as a service, and that is you have to arrange for the kitchen table and the drinks. Whereas if you think about ordering the raw material for the pizza like dough, sauce, sausage, and cheese, and you are preparing the pizza at home, including you arrange for the kitchen table, you arrange for the drinks, and you ensure that pizza is properly cooked and it is heated properly, and you serve the pizza at your home. That is what we call it as infrastructure as a service. Okay. Now the third, the another example is, think about if you have to prepare everything at home, including the raw material for the pizza, and you prepare the pizza properly and you serve the pizza. That is what we call it as traditional on-premise infrastructure, because here everything is done by you. All right. Now let's talk about another different example just to help you understand the exact differences between all of these components. So the another example is house as a service. Now let's assume you have to go in a particular city and you require accommodation for a couple of days. Now for the accommodation, you can either go to the restaurant, consume the services of that hotel room, okay, and then you pay for the charges, whatever you incurred after staying there for a couple of days, and you can come out of that restaurant. Okay, that is what we call it as software as a service, because everything is ready-made. A ready-made room is available to you and you're consuming the services of that particular hotel. Okay, then if you have to rent a flat, we call it as platform as a service, because in this platform as service you are managing couple of things, that is furniture, council tax, utilities bill, and cleaning. Okay, whereas if you purchase a flat, that's what we call it as infrastructure as a service. Okay, and if you build your own house, you take care of land, planning, building, all those components. That is what we treat it as a on-premise infrastructure. Now as you can see here, in the infrastructure as a service, the maintenance is always on the higher side compared to platform as a service and software as a service. Whereas in case of on-premise, the maintenance is always going to be higher, okay, compared to any of these components. Now it's up to you which one you would prefer, and depending on how much cost you will be incurring and so on, right? So entirely up to you which one you would prefer. Now I'll quickly move further, and now I will talk about some of the cloud deployment models. Okay, so some of the cloud deployment models we have are the private cloud, then we have the community cloud, public cloud, and the hybrid cloud. Now let's talk about the differences between all of these cloud deployment models one by one. So the first one is the private cloud. Now it is the cloud platform that's available within your company premises, and your internal company employees are consuming the services of that platform. Okay, and it is available in the internal company premises only, and that's why we call it as the private cloud. So in the private cloud, the attack surface is always on the lower side, because here you are not exposing your infrastructure to the public internet. Since you are not exposing your infrastructure to the public internet, you will always ensure that private cloud is having the highest level of security. Now, if we talk about the community cloud, it's a shared infrastructure provided for a specific community, which means only a specific community of members can consume this community cloud platform. I'll give you the simplest example of a community cloud. Think about if you want to consume the governmental cloud, okay, or government cloud. Now this government cloud is only available for people who are working for the government organization, okay, and that is what the community cloud is, because it is targeted only for a specific community. Okay, another example I can tell you about the community cloud is your Azure China is the best example of a community cloud, because this Azure China cloud platform, it's only available for people who are residing in the Chinese territory. Okay, it's not available to anyone over the internet. Okay, it's only available for people who are residing in China. That's what we call it as the community cloud, and that is what the community cloud is targeted at. Okay, Then the third type of cloud deployment model we have is the public cloud. Now it is available to general public. That means you, me, every one of us can subscribe to that cloud platform and we can start consuming the services of that public cloud. So the best example of the public cloud is your Amazon Web Services, your Azure Cloud Platform, or Google Cloud Platform. All these are the examples of public cloud platform. Then the fourth deployment model that we have is the hybrid cloud. Now it's a composition of two or more cloud platforms, which means if you are using your private cloud along with your public cloud, you can say I'm operating in the hybrid cloud model. Okay. Or if you're using multiple cloud platforms along with your on-premise infrastructure, that is a private cloud, you can say I'm operating in the hybrid cloud models. So I would say 95% of the organizations are operating in the hybrid cloud model because they have the part of the infrastructure hosted in their on-premise and part of the infrastructure hosted in the public cloud platform. So that is what we treat them as they are operating in the hybrid cloud model. And as you can see here, the blue arrow that says attack surface increases if you go from the private cloud to the hybrid cloud. Because why it says attack surface increases? Because you have the ability to connect to the hybrid cloud platform from multiple places or from multiple premises. And that's why the attack surface is always on the higher side hybrid cloud platform, which means you have to take care of a lot of things when it comes to the security aspects, especially in the hybrid cloud platform and in the public cloud platform, because there are lots of security related parameters you have to touch upon in order to secure your infrastructure. But yes, the cloud computing platforms are capable of doing that. They have provided you so many security layers that nobody can even touch to the platform, provided you are consuming those security related aspects and you are securing your infrastructure to the greatest level. Okay. Now we'll talk about some of the characteristics of each of these cloud deployment models. Let's talk about it one by one. First one is the private cloud. It supports all the users from within the company itself. It is managed by the organization itself. It is more expensive than the public cloud platforms due to the capital expenditure that is required. So as I told you, in case of a private cloud, you always need to invest some amount in order to run your infrastructure, because you are running the infrastructure in your premises and you are consuming the services of those servers. Another advantage of using the private cloud platform is it is able to address the security and privacy concerns of the organizations today, because the organizations, when it comes to especially the banking organizations, they are the most people who are worried about the customers data or customers money, right? Because they have to think a lot about the security aspects. But private cloud is absolutely able to meet all of those security and the privacy concerns. But if you are using the public cloud platform, that provides you multiple layers of security, which you can use it and you can implement in your platform, and you can be able to secure your infrastructure as equally as the you were able to do it in the private cloud platform. Okay. Now let's talk about some of the characteristics of the public cloud platform. It supports all the users who want to make use of the computing resources. Plus, in this case, you need a subscription in order to sign up to that platform. Okay. Another thing that you need is you can operate as a pay-as-you-go model, which means you can only pay for those services that you're consuming. If you're not consuming a particular service, you can simply stop paying for those services. Okay. Another thing about the public cloud is you can increase the capacity as and when needed. Now that's one of the major benefit that differentiates a public cloud platform from the private cloud platform. And that is you can always increase the capacity as and when need arises, which means let's assume you can start off with a small instance of the server. Maybe let's assume I can start off with 2 GB RAM and 2 CPU cores, right? And tomorrow, if my business is growing, I can simply increase the sizing by just a couple of clicks. I will easily be able to increase the sizing as per my demand. And that is one of the major thing about the cloud computing, because you can increase the sizing in just a couple of clicks and it will be having more better sizing than what you were using it. Okay. Then the next deployment model is the community cloud. It supports multiple organizations that are sharing computing resources that are part of a community. So as I told you, you have to be part of that community in order to consume the services of the community cloud platform. Now, access to the community cloud environment is typically restricted to the members of a community. Okay. Another deployment model that we have is the hybrid cloud. It is basically suited for the organizations that makes use of interconnected private and the public cloud infrastructure, which means if you're running the infrastructure in your on-premise and you're running the part of the infrastructure in the public cloud platforms, that is what we treat them as they are operating in the hybrid cloud model. Now, let's talk about some of the benefits of cloud computing. Now, why do you need the cloud computing? So some of the benefits associated with the cloud computing platform are you can trade capital expenditure for variable expense, which means you do not have to put up your capital expenditure in order to run your infrastructure. And since you are not putting up any capital expenditure, you can always save the good amount of money in capital expenditure compared to variable expense. So variable expense is something that you are incurring while you are running your infrastructure. Okay. So essentially, because you are not putting up any capital expenditure, you can only pay for the variable expenses. That means to run your infrastructure. And that is where you can save good amount of money when it comes to the cloud computing platform. Some of the other benefits are you can benefit from the massive economies of scale. So as I told you that you can always start off with the small sizing and you can increase the capacity as and when need arises. Plus, you can think about, okay, I'm running some, say for example, I'm running 100 servers, but tomorrow all of a sudden my demand grows and I have to increase the size or I have to increase the number of servers to 1,000, right? So you can increase the number of servers that you are running. And what will happen is the cloud computing provider will essentially provide you the discounts on the pricing, because earlier you were running the some few number of instances or few number of servers, but now all of a sudden your demand has increased. So cloud computing provider will give you the discount on the pricing. So that is another benefit of using the cloud computing platform. Okay. Then the next benefit is you can increase the speed and the agility that's required for your servers to run on the cloud computing platform. Plus, you can stop spending money running and maintaining the data centers. So since you are not maintaining or running any data centers, you can save good amount of money there. Okay. Plus, you can go global in minutes, which means you can always launch your infrastructure which is closest to your customers across the globe, and that way you can provide them access to their applications and the services at a very low latency, which means they can be really happy considering the amount of benefits or the number of benefits that they are getting with respect to the cloud computing platform. Okay. Now, this covers the very basic level of or the high level overview of what cloud computing exactly is. Okay. Now, I'll talk about some of the increased trends and what are the different trends associated with the cloud computing platform. So the first one is, why is there an increased demand for the cloud engineers? So if you look at the trend, so as per the NetEnrich report, some 68% of the enterprise IT departments are now using the public cloud infrastructure. And as companies move away from the on-premise infrastructure model, they can always think about saving the good amount of money. And in order to save the good amount of money, obviously they have to migrate their infrastructure to the cloud. Now, if they are migrating their infrastructure to the cloud, obviously they need people who can manage their cloud computing platform, because when it comes to the management, there is a lot required from the cloud engineers. Okay. So you have to be absolutely prepared in order to take up these opportunities. Okay. And if you look for the searches, or if you search for the cloud computing and the related jobs, you can find it out that there has been an increase in number of jobs over the years, especially when it comes to the jobs for cloud engineers. And the increase is almost 141% in the past 2 years. Okay. So that is the huge increase, and you will see that the demand will keep on rising. Okay. The demand will keep on rising. Now, what is it that we do as a cloud engineer? Okay. So the cloud engineers are responsible for assessing the existing infrastructure of a business and researching solutions for moving different functions like the database, like the storage, to the cloud-based systems. Plus, the cloud engineers require the technical abilities to perform the migration and must be able to negotiate terms with the vendors, ensure the security of the data, implement the best practices throughout the process. And these professionals also communicate progress to the senior management and work closely with IT teams to integrate their existing structures into the cloud system or cloud-based systems. Okay. Now, some of the job roles that are available as a cloud engineers are, we have the software engineer role, we have the senior software engineer, we have the software architects, the development operations engineer, full stack developer, cloud engineer. So all of these are the available roles that you can think about getting it. So once you have the requisite knowledge and once you have the requisite skill level, you can always think about fetching one of these roles. Okay. Now, what are the different vendors who are providing the cloud computing platform? So we have so many vendors, but I have listed down a few of the very popular cloud computing vendors, and these are Amazon, and that provides you Amazon Web Services. We have Microsoft, which provides Microsoft Azure, and we have Google, which provides us the Google Cloud Platform. Okay. Now, if you look at what are the average salary ranges for the cloud engineers, so as per the research that was conducted in the 2018, and if you look at the data from the Glassdoor, that indicates the cloud engineers have a median base salary of $96,000 approximately in the US. Okay, and the average salary of cloud engineers in the US was $118,000 approximately. Okay, and I can show you the same trend for the Indian customers. Give me a second. If you look at this, you can see this. There is a trend. There's a continuously increasing trend for demand for cloud engineers. Okay, there's a continuous trend for demand for cloud engineers, and you can see there are plenty of job opportunities available for a cloud engineer. So which means you can easily pick up these job roles and you can just learn about the cloud computing platform and you can increase your knowledge and the efficiency level. Okay, so with this, guys, I am done.